Hello! First ever recording of Women Crush Wednesday with Women Crush Coven. Oh, so exciting. So we are here. Well, first, I'm Katie. Hey,
I'm
girl.
Tamara. Hey. I don't know.
I am the founder of Women Crush Coven, and I'm gonna own that I'm like the number one woman crusher in Women Crush
You're
Coven.
really good at crushing on
So
women.
good. So good.
Good.
I've always felt really strongly about that it was like it was important to me. I just wanted to be around ladies. I didn't understand men, so it just made it really that just narrowed the pool.
Do you
Really.
know, I actually remember the first post ever on Facebook where you were like, ladies, I want to know who you're crushing on. And you tagged a bunch of ladies. I didn't take it personally. I wasn't tagged. But you like shared all the different crushes that you guys were crushing on at the time. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And
True. That was a while ago.
that was a long time ago.
I've always been friends with ladies. So number one woman crusher. And I am here. We are here crushing on the Tamara Ross.
Oh my God. Tamara Ross.
Diana Ross. I wish I had like a Diana Ross song for you, like playing in the background right now. So Tamara is, what do you call yourself? Like the chief energetics officer?
The chief energetics officer and the founder of My Life, My Design. I basically own a personal growth and development coaching company. I own the whole company, bitches.
That's awesome. When did you change from calling yourself a coaching company to a personal growth and development company? Like, what was that about?
I couldn't tell you when I did that. There was something that changed energetically and I just did it. I actually never referred to it as a coaching company. I referred to myself as a personal coach. I referred to myself as a coach. But when I became aware, and this was probably only maybe a couple months ago, that I was actually aware, like I train people, I facilitate people. I don't actually coach people anymore. Like I don't have private coaching clients. I mean, you could work with me privately, but I just don't refer to myself as a coach. I felt like that was really small given what I've been creating on the planet, in the world, and like what I do. Because what I do now is I primarily facilitate people. So there's a distinction for me between coaching people and facilitating people. I think facilitating people is super kind. I think coaching people kind of feels a little bit like, if you were going to go learn how to run hurdles, which I ran in high school. Okay. But like, if you were going to go run hurdles, it was like, lift your leg up, do this, make sure you're doing this, which is very militant. And I don't know if there's a lot of choice in it. Right. Mm. And so for me, facilitating is like showing you what's happening and then you get to choose. And so I think that's a really kind place to stand. My primary directive now is training coaches. Like training coaches to do the work is now my primary directive, like creating a body of work that lives on beyond me. Like a lot of coaches, what I would also say is a lot of coaches, if you died tomorrow, what would happen to your clients? I own it.
Yeah, they'd go find another coach. I don't know.
They'd go find another coach, or like you would no longer have a business. And so when I got really clear, like, oh, okay, if I died tomorrow, what would happen with my business? I actually have a structure set up so that people are still served. Now I own a company. Like I own a company I could sell. I own a company that I've created like processes with. I'm serving people on a deeper level. Like it's a little bit bigger. And so I think I just got to that awareness basically like 2-3 months ago.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Was there something that happened that so especially with the comment, if I died tomorrow? Was somebody like, Tam, what happens if you die tomorrow? What happens to my program that I paid good money for?
Yeah. She's like in the program. Well, so.
Really? Somebody did say that?
No. Oh, okay. I think it's just in the arena of like, I have a child. So you have like future planning sometimes. And so like my husband and I would say for the last, my daughter will be 4 in December. So for the last 4 years, we've thought about like, we should have a will and we should have some sort of directive, which we still don't have. But I think it's always like, honey, we should go finish that will, or we should go finish the directive. I think it just kind of popped in my awareness, like, wow, I would say to myself, like, I get annoyed with my husband and I do like what every normal person does. And I'm like, oh, if we divorced, I'd be paying him alimony. Like, that's what would happen. Like, nothing, I couldn't like hold it. I would just be like paying him alimony. And so I was like, okay, well, if we divorce, I just had a thought, like it just dropped in and it was like, well, if I die, what would happen? When you start serving on a bigger level, I think those are just natural thoughts that you have.
Yeah.
And so you go, okay, well, who's set up to serve people? So I'm now coaching somebody and facilitating somebody who I could see, like, if I died tomorrow, she would take over the company.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So now when you have that thought, right? Like if you're serving people on a bigger plane, it doesn't matter what it is that you go like, well, what happens if I die tomorrow? Is there something in place? And if there's not, let's put that motherfucker in place. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We just opened up a whole can of worms we weren't even planning on talking about.
We did. I think that when I'm around, structures get talked about because
you like structures.
I like them. I like the ease that they provide.
Totally.
I'm all about things being repeatable so that you can like flow and ease come a lot of the time from structure.
And Katie has, and I don't know, probably a lot of people in the Coven. I love it. I'm like, I love the Coven. I actually say that. I interact with it like that. I love the Coven. It's so witchy and maybe a little, what's that word? Cultish. I'm such a fan.
I've always been looking for a better cult. Like, that's...
People are going to be like, what did I stumble on in this conversation?
Hey, I feel like I'm going to go make that t-shirt, In Search of a Better Cult.
I love that one. Mostly because all of the personal growth and development work that I've done like, I would say 3 main bodies of work that I've pulled my own facilitation style from. 3 main bodies of work. Each one, somebody's called it a cult at some point. And I was like, and I never related to, I was like, we're just like making ourselves better. What's the big deal? And like I remember the first time I was sitting in a program and somebody goes, is this a cult? And I was like, what the fuck am I sitting in? Oh my God. And then I realized
like it had never occurred to you until that moment. And
then, yeah. And then every body of work I chose to like develop myself in, somebody would say something about a cult. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with the cult shit? Like, and then I had to give it up and I was like, oh, because when we make ourselves better and we're happy, people have to think that we're part of a cult. But a cult is like, you can never get out of and they don't invite everybody to the party. You can never get out of and they don't invite everybody to the party. So we invite everybody. I invite everybody to my parties, just so you know. And if you don't, at some point you don't want to work with me, it's like no big deal. So I was really honored that somebody, one of my clients, her dad was like, is that stuff you do with Tamara? Is that a cult? And I was like, oh my God, I made it. And like, no judgment. Yes. Yeah. And so I'm a little like, if it makes your life better, it makes you happy, people are going to judge it as a cult.
Yep. And then, you might get judged and then you might get your own Netflix show.
Cool.
And just like spreads your message through one of the largest streaming platforms on the planet.
I think we'll create that.
I'll take it. I know. God, I would love to have my own TV show. Just saying.
Yeah, Women Crush Coven could be on Netflix and then they could be like, are you culting on Women Crush Coven?
Yeah, of course.
Isn't it funny? I didn't even think of myself. I'm like, Netflix me. Nope, it's all about the Coven.
Yeah. Hey, you be. That's because you're part of it. That's because you're part of the Coven. That's what's great about the Coven. It's inclusive. Again, same. Inclusive. You can go whenever you want, but like, really, do you want to?
You really want to leave?
You don't really want to leave. You want to stay. Yeah. So back to you, because this is all about you. Mm-hmm. It's all about the conversation, which is all about us.
That's right.
Who are you?
Oh, that's deep.
That was great. You actually were stumped for a moment.
Who am I? An infinite being having a party experience is what my Women Crush Coven tank top says, which I love.
Use my.
If you guys want the tank top that says a spiritual being having, is it infinite or spiritual? Spiritual being having a party experience. I feel like I would say I'm an infinite being having a human experience. Like, and I relate probably 99% of my experiences on this planet. I relate to me. I'm infinite. Having a human experience. So let's not discount the human experience. Let's not discount that you're infinite. It's all wrapped up in that.
So, so that people aren't making a whole bunch of assumptions about what that actually means. And because I really like to break things down, I'm very visual. I'm like,
let's do it.
What is an example of a human experience you enjoy? And what's an example of you living your life as an infinite being?
My human experience that I love, just one?
Oh my God. You could name 7. Let's not stay on this topic for 4 hours.
I know, but we could. Okay, so like
your human is like, yay! Let me tell you all the things.
A Q-tip in the ear is probably an incredible human experience. I don't know why I like that so much. My kid, so like I check on my kid when she's sleeping at night and she's so cute and I like tuck her in a little bit more. And so this morning, because they were jet lag, they had a little bit of like time difference jet lag. So I had to go wake her up this morning before school. And I like snuggled in and I like cuddled and I like pet her hand. And then she like looks at me, she's like, Mommy, is it time to wake up now? And I was like, sugar, it's time to wake up. Do you want to go to school? Yeah. That's amazing human experience. And then we played she makes up games. So she was like, I'm going to jump off this thing to give you a kiss. And I was like, and then she's like, stop catching me. And I'm like, you're going to fall.
But you're going to die.
You're going to fall, my love. And so we just played this game for like 5 minutes before she was walking out the door. That was like, I mean, this is the smell, just the smell of good coffee, right? Or like, I have like a coffee obsession. The smell of good coffee, but like, I like my coffee in a particular way. Like you get me that good, yummy coffee and I'm like so in love. And I'm like, it's so good. We've talked, like Katie knows I have a little shoe obsession, but apparently it's gold shoes. Like I like gold sparkly shoes. I don't know. Yeah. Gold sparkly shoes are amazeballs. I love dressing up my outfits. The soft feel of like my robe. I mean, mostly if you don't catch me and I'm not gonna like create a video that everybody's gonna see everywhere forever, that's gonna live on lifetimes, I'm probably in my robe. Like I'll do Zoom calls with my coaches in robe. They get the personal side of me. Let's see, what else?
So like with your
seat in my car, like yesterday was cold and I got in, I was like heated seat and you're just like,
yeah, heated seats and hot baths are just my happy place.
Hot baths, a good soak with lavender, bath salts, and baking soda. That's like my jam. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, I could go on. I told you.
Yeah, so those are very like physical.
Yes.
I think there's like a consistent theme of physicality there.
Totally. Yes.
So what about an infinite being?
Infinite being is accessing the magic. So that's like the very simply like put statement. Infinite being is accessing the magic. So infinite being is like, you have the experience of when you outcreate yourself. Like you just did that, right? Mm-hmm. You just outcreated yourself. And that's like, yeah. And then there's like the magic, like I've been talking about this a lot. Like there's something magical that happens when I host 3-day events. Right? Like I'm pouring energy into it, which means I'm connecting with connecting with ascended masters. I'm directing the energy of the group. We're clearing shit so deeply that like you guys like human, you don't have a clue of what's happening on the infinite level, the divine level, the beyond the 3rd dimensional level. Okay. And then all this magic happens and you're like, oh my God. So like the first time I hosted a 3-day event was like, I got the download in 45 days, I was going to be hosting a 3-day event. So like, you're like, I'm doing what? Excuse, like,
your human was like, no. Your infinite being's like, yeah.
That's totally it. Your infinite being's like, this is what you're doing. And the human's like,
you can like sound like there's very many robes involved in that.
Yeah. And it was like, are you sure we're doing this? And it was like, yeah, of course we're doing it. Tam, come on, get to the party. We're going to the party. And then it was like, when it gets executed, there's this the infinite being has access to all healing, all time, space, dimension, reality, all support from ascended masters, consciousness beyond your wildest dreams. And the access to that for me is I just open myself up as a vessel. So like my first 3-day event, I was not nervous. We rocked it together. Like Katie was there. We rocked it together. It was like so magical. And there was like, It was my first one. It's not like it was flawless, but like it was pretty great.
You can pat yourself on the back for that one. Like, mad props, girl.
Mad props. And then I was like, this is so magical. We should do this all the time. And so there's this amazing, I know. And then I'm like, my humanness needs to rest after. So my humanness, like Netflix and chills. And then I see like energy. I see an energy worker like 3 times a week to deal with my body. NSA, I love it. And he's just like, you're just consistently like downloading energy from the infinite. And your body sometimes has trouble keeping up with you. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, so most people are trying to continually connect. I'm just like super connected. So I think that's like the thing is like, you're an infinite being. If you literally own it, set yourself up for it, receive it. Now we just play with magic. And this is like, whatever you want to have happen, you can have happen.
Yeah.
Anything.
So how do you set yourself up? So say somebody is on the, like, watching this and
let's hope people are watching this.
Yeah. Well, so, but like, say they're like, okay, I get who I am as an infinite being. So infinite being, we're just going to pause for a second and say like, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You are consciousness. You are spirit embodied. You are energy that can neither be created nor destroyed. So you have existed always. You will exist forever. It might not be attached to your personality. Sorry, guys, your personality is.
That may be finite.
It may be finite. It may exist in the body, in the vessel that is your body. Your body is.
It may go with you into the DNA of your next body.
Yeah.
It may
become some kind of like karma.
Right? The karma's in the DNA. Right? So your cells are set up, but you may have pieces of your personality from past lifetimes as well. I mean, I'm sure that I was like a really kick-ass person in past lives because I'm a really kick-ass person now.
You know what? You are, definitely. I was too. And like sometimes I hope that in my next life I'm like a really well taken care of King Charles Spaniel. Anyway, that's a whole other story that we're not gonna. This is a whole other squirrel moment that we're not gonna.
How many could we open up? But here's the deal. I think that you as a soul have particular attributes as you've been incarnated over and over. So as an infinite being, you hold some of those attributes.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I would say. So as it's infinite, like energetic infinite star, like, you know, y'all probably came from a star, another planet, or I mean, we could go deep on that. And then you go like, oh, well, I'm just like ascended master so-and-so, Jesus, and you're having a human experience. So what did Jesus do? You could do all this shit. You could do all the shit Jesus did if you study long enough and you give up all your judgment, point of views, and conclusions.
I just watched the Da Vinci Code yesterday. So I'm like, Jesus didn't actually do that. It was Mary Magdalene.
If you want a good read about Mary Magdalena and Jesus, I offer you I Remember Union. There's a good book read.
Okay.
Yes.
I will make sure that is linked up in the show notes, guys. So I Remember Union. Yeah,
amazing conversation about how the divine feminine really held the place for the masculine, because at the time that Jesus walked, that's all that was accepted. So divine feminine could not actually come through at that time because there was no creation of it, no listening of it, no response to it. And so she held the place as, like, I would say twin flame held the space for that to come through. See, now we've opened up a whole new can of worms.
New can of worms. So I mean, I'm gonna bring us back. I'm gonna bring us back because you said if you're connected to who you are as an infinite being,
and
you're set up as an infinite being, then you can start to have the results consistent with infinite being. I really like results because, like, we're having a 3D experience right now. So
totally.
Why not have results? I like
set yourself up for the results.
Yeah. How do you, like, what does that even mean? How do you set yourself up?
So first is, and this is really cool because, like, in the energetic self-mastery program that I facilitate, I just had all of my clients, and I know you're one of these people who's looking at what your contract is. Mm-hmm. What is your contract that you're now giving up, like consciously giving up? So setting yourself up to be divine.
By the way, we're talking about, like, not like a contract.
It is a piece of paper contract that I
but I mean, like, oh, you're talking about the contract. Okay.
Yeah. So inside of
the contract.
Yeah. So inside of the program, what I noticed is like, we are figuratively, we're thinking about what we want to create. You got like, people are moving through and they're going, oh, well, yeah, I'm operating as an infinite being. Well, motherfucker, you're not, because you're dealing with some limitation of humanness. Then you're not being infinite being. So inside of setting yourself up, you literally have to give up any limitation of humanness, right? So you're having a human experience, which means humans came in with, first of all, the most lovely thing that humans came in with is like the free will aspect. That's the most lovely thing, because your choice is what gives you the experience. You choose like the underwear you want to wear. That's going to give you a great experience or not a great experience. Like, am I going to wax? Am I not going to wax? What color is my hair going to be as a woman? Like, you know, all of these things are the divine choice that you have when you come in as a human and experiencing this lifetime. But that's the fun part, is the choice. The limitation was not necessarily how we came in. And if we want to go back to where limitation was created, we'd have to go back like in the human existence. Blah, 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 blah. But now we're in a place where we're moving out of the third dimensional reality into the fifth, 13th dimension reality. The fifth dimension is already here, if you so choose it. If you give up the limitation of living in a human limited third dimension reality paradigm. So the limitations of scarcity, the limitations of not enough money, of not enough time, of not enough love, of not being loved by others, like all of that is a limitation inside of like human limitation. Infinite being has no limitation of love, time, money, any of it. So you have to first be willing to, like, if we're looking at what it looks like to step into it or to create that, right? I forgot the word I used, but like, you have to be willing to choose it fully, like being infinite fully. So you're not going to get limited by your body. You're not going to get limited by your time. You're not going to get limited by your money. You're literally going to create magic in all of those areas.
It sounds good.
Which is what you've magically started to step into, right, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just actually working on my contract with your husband, who's my coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we going to do on this call if we don't work on the contract? He's like, I don't know, whatever you want to do. And I'm like, all right, we're going to work on the contract.
Isn't he?
Then somehow we ended up, I'm a great person to coach, by the way.
She's like, bitch, this is what we're doing today. He's like, great, let's do that.
I'm like, what else are we going to do? I'm just going to talk. Let's get shit done. So somehow our conversation came around to my relationship with men.
Yes.
I was like, maybe one thing we could talk about is why I seem to be in power struggles with men. And I say that I want a partner, and people who show up are like not really showing up as partners. They're either showing up as really intimate and connected and then disappearing, or not disappearing, but like being really distant, or being really connected and present, but not really being available. And I started to look at all of the limitations that I have for men. And I would say that my relationship, like in total with men, is very new, because I didn't even really know that you could talk to men about things other than cars, hiking, guns, football, and sex.
Yes.
Until 2011.
Yeah. So we would identify that as the limited, like a limited paradigm.
Yeah.
So you relate
to. I showed up inside of my relationship with men. This is the thing that's weird that I just realized, is I showed up in my relationship with men as like someone who was disinterested, because you were talking about football. Like I showed up as either a daughter, a sister, a fuck buddy, or somebody who was like a caretaker, or just somebody who was bored.
Yeah.
Like somebody who wanted to run away.
Yeah.
So it really limited. I didn't realize how much I was limited in my capacity to even show up as anything else, because I was always like, well, who am I? Because I've always had it that duality, this is a dualistic world, which we should probably go into because you have a very different perspective. That this world was like dualistic, And so I needed to be the counter. Like there were always two parts. And when one changed, men changed, I changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's there for you after I say health?
Well, I really think what you're pointing to is like the capacity to step into having it all your way. Like the infinite being gets to decide how they're, let me say this. Law of attraction is you're always creating your realm. You're always creating your reality. And my reality is far distinct from most people, I would say. Even my husband, I'm consistently training him in a new reality all the time, right? And so in my reality, I have it all my way with nobody gets to sacrifice around me. So I have it all my way. My kid has it all her way. My kid has it all their way. My clients show up and they get all their way if they choose it, right? But like everybody around me is like, it's a practice in having it all our way with no sacrifice, because there is no scarcity. There is no scarcity. There is no lack. There is no anything, right? So infinite being is infinite in the capacity of connected to everything, access to everything, right? With no scarcity, in abundance of everything, abundance of light, abundance of love, abundance, like we've already said all that, right? But if you look at like where you would go locate an infinite being, there are no boundaries. There are no edges. There's no body. So it makes sense that it would be infinitely connected to everything. So when you tap into your intuition, you're having an infinite experience because you're.
And I think that's one of the reasons that like intuition, just to kind of bring this back down in a way that people can maybe digest it a little bit better.
Totally.
I think that's one of the reasons that intuition shows up and it like doesn't make any sense sometimes, because I'm not alone in living in a dualistic world, you know, so when your options are either this or that, yeah. Like I'm happy or I'm sad, I'm empowered or I'm depressed. I like them, I don't like them, they're cool, they're not cool. Like this job is great, this job sucks. When you live there and your intuition is like, call Sarah. And you're like, well, I was thinking about why men suck, men don't suck.
Right.
Like, what the fuck is call Sarah?
Yeah.
Or, you know, when a thought shows up or something shows up that isn't related to that at all, it's like it doesn't make any sense, because infinite being is operating from infinite, trying to solve whatever your problem is that you're having now, or trying to align with whatever you've said you want.
Right. Or getting connected into what's going to serve you. Right. Yeah. And so what's going to serve you is like a preference that you're choosing in personality, right? Mm-hmm. Ego or personality is choosing a preference and wanting a human experience. Or your soul is going like, hey, Tam, guess what? It's time you step up and serve to the next level. How about you do a 3-day event? And I'm like, right? Or it's like, even in my relationship with my husband, like my soul, you know, I knew, it is so funny because I don't think nobody knows the story. I don't think anybody knows the story, but like I saw my husband from across the room in one of my personal growth and development programs. I was sitting with a boyfriend. I looked over and I was like, ooh. He is 6 foot. He's like, he's not 6'4". He's not brown hair. He's not blue eyes. He is not my quote unquote type. And there was something about that homie. By the way, my husband's short, bald, and Jewish. So just to give you a little like parameter. And I was like, ooh. And then he ended up being my coach in my next program I did. And
you're also like, not allowed to date your coach.
Where you're not allowed to date or anything else. But I saw him and I was like, that's my coach. That's funny. Like, you know, giving it to like, fuck, call it God, universe, soul, source, whatever you want. And I was like, that's a fucking funny, haha, bullshit. Because for me to show up in front of somebody that I liked, I was attracted to, and that I had a crush on forever, I had to get real with myself and really let my barriers down. And that was really, really hard. So my growth actually started way back when he was my coach, and I had to be like, you know what? I don't have it all together. You know what? I'm going to let you coach me. You know what? I'm going to put my personality aside. Why don't you tell me about this? Okay. And so that's when your soul is also operating in your greater good, and your personality is like, that fucking sucks, you know? And it's like, your personality and your soul are always like merging together into giving you this divine experience. It's really fun. Right. And so if we're going back to what you were sharing, I think inside of the duality, or inside of dating, inside of everything that's showing up, I think you're also recognizing what is your path, what is there for you to grow in, inside of this, right? And so this is a little bit of your soul opening up and going like, hey, Katie, here's the next thing.
Oh,
like
totally.
So you say you want to have a great relationship, or you want to be in a relationship, or maybe you want to get married. Well, now you just had an experience, and now you have a realization of how you operate in relationships, that there is some sort of duality. What if there is no duality? Which I personally think is a lot of the reason why we have, non-gender binary people.
Mm-hmm.
That delineate, and I just got goosebumps, that delineation of the duality is actually not real.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There is not necessarily man, women. Right? When you say masculine, feminine, and I talk about men, women, and people are like, right?
Yeah. It's funny because for me, the things that come up when we talk about like non-duality is boring.
She's like, life would not be exciting if we didn't have.
Life would not be exciting. Like, how do you create excitement inside of no duality? It's like,
if you know what, go streaking, Katie. Just go streaking. I swear you will have excitement, and there will be no duality.
Yeah, but so I could argue with you on that, and about how there is duality involved in that. But I'm actually reading a book that I've been talking about how bad it is. Like the great thing about book club is sometimes you read books that you wouldn't read and you love them. And sometimes you read books that you wouldn't read and they're terrible and you suffer through them until the last 2 hours. And this book is actually talking about somebody who's from a planet with genders. It's a sci-fi YA. Oh,
I was like,
yeah, it's sci-fi and it's young adult. So, not everybody's going to read this book. And if you're going to read it, I would recommend that you actually skip like most of it and go to the last.
Just go to the end?
Yeah, go to 2.5 hours left of this.
So you're not actually reading the book, you're listening to the book.
I'm listening to the book. I listen to books, guys, and I call it reading.
You know what? And that's the funny part, because I had a client and she's like, well, I just recently read this book. And I'm like, you listen to everything on audible.com. I don't know what the fuck you're actually reading. She's like, true. And I'm like, you just have to be like, so I recently listened to this book.
Okay. I'm listening to this book. I read sometimes, but anyway, I'm listening to this book. Yeah. And there's a guy from a planet where there are men and women.
Yeah.
He goes to a planet where where the aliens, whatever, the beings there are genderless.
Yeah.
They are both male and female.
Yeah.
They're genderless.
Yeah.
And it takes until the last hour and 45 minutes of the book for this being that's been on the planet for like 3 years to start to get any sense of no sex, like no gender, because gender is just such a framework for our existence.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I've like really hated the book until now, but now I'm like, this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to give you, anyway, random aside. I think that there's 2 places.
You want to link up that book in the show notes too?
I'm going to link up the book in the show notes.
Just
and you guys
want to go.
Seriously, if you liked the first 9 hours of this book, and if you read the book and you liked the first 9 hours, which is probably until chapter like 16 to 18.
Yeah.
Tell me what you like to
Tell me why. Why did you like it?
Argue with me about how great this book is. It's gotten awards. It turns out things that get awards, like I'm usually like, meh, meh, meh. I'm a simpleton. Like blow some shit up and I'll be happy. When it comes to my entertainment.
True.
So true.
True.
On entertainment. Okay, so there's like a couple of different directions that we could go. We're at a fork in the conversation. Maybe it's more of a loop. You said you're really good at training. You train people in new realities.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I love that.
I would say that's one of your superpowers.
Yeah.
And so that's one way we could go. Or we could talk about how you went from like being in this relationship with your coach to doing dating coaching work. What feels?
Well, let's just merge it. Why okay. Choose? There's no duality, bitch.
Yeah. I'm all forks in the road. He's all like, no, it's just great. We'll just merge it. Sure, show me. We all have superpowers. One of Tamara's is training. The other one is merging. Mine is being like, here's where we could go. What do you think? And then an answer shows up in the form of, we'll merge it. Great.
Yeah. So look, training people in new realities is about having people see everything as possible and you can have it all your way. Right?
Yeah.
But having people actually choose and step into something and then create the new reality. So my paradigm, my entire paradigm, the whole place I live, my husband is retired. He's a stay-at-home dad. P.S. He was never trained at doing any housework or ever being in a house. It's like a whole nother training ground.
Yeah.
We've got like everything I do from start to finish is a new paradigm, but I'm bringing consciousness and awareness and I'm firmly grounded and planted in what I'm doing. So everything around me, like I would say, you know, this whole conversation of like white privileged men and like Marianne Williamson running for president, all of that then starts to show up inside of my commitment to have a different paradigm on the planet, but to also bring awareness and to train people. Look, my first company, Flirt With Me, I owned 2 companies at the very beginning. My Life, My Design, or Your Life, Your Design? What is my company
Your
called?
Life, Your Design.
There you go. Your Life, Your Design, and Flirt With Me Coaching Services, okay? But Flirt With Me Coaching Services, when I told people I taught people how to flirt, they were like, oh, so you get them laid? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, I teach people how to attract somebody into their reality to have a conversation. And flirting is basically 2 things. It's eye contact and a smile. And I don't know what the fuck everybody else is talking about what flirting is. Because flirting isn't getting laid. Flirting isn't Netflix and chilling. Flirting is literally like smile, eye contact, and that's it. Now, since I've done that business, you go like YouTube, what is flirting or something, you'll have a bunch of experts, relationship experts talking about flirting. And I was like, look, for me, I was so good at like connecting with people anywhere. So I'd be running down the street and somebody would talk. I had earplugs in, earphones. People would stop me to talk to me. And I was like, I'm fucking on a jog with my shit in, but let me stop to talk to you. I would be in a coffee shop and somebody would talk about my t-shirt. Or like everywhere there was always flirting happening, but it was because I was so extremely connected to people. Mm-hmm. Now that's also training people and shifting a paradigm, right? Inside of just connecting. Like, make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So it was a little bit, it was that, but inside of that business, I was training people to get connected. I was training women to be out there. I was training women on how to like give men a green light because men are mostly stuck and they're like, I don't have a green light. What's that?
How do you give them a green light?
Oh, the smile and the eye contact.
Oh, okay, great.
It's like super simple.
It is.
And like if once you're like dating or once you're like hanging out and talking, you can always go like, you know, if you were to ask me out, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
You know, like, but look, that's a way, it's because it's not a duality. It's not about you now have to wear the pants and it's not about you're giving up power or it's not about any of that. This is about like a win-win between a man and a woman in a quote unquote courtship process. And it could be women, by the way. I worked with somebody who was like, we were doing a lot of work on relationships and all this. And she was like, I think I'm really attracted to so-and-so. And I was like, great. And I think they're like getting married now or something. I don't know. And I was like, pop, doesn't have to be man. So that whole duality like just shifted in front of me, right? And I was like, yay, she's in love. I don't really fucking care if it's man, woman, whatever. Woman, let's do it, okay? But it's the openness to actually get connected, which is that's infinite. We cut ourselves off and we're like, no, and we need to have boundaries and we need to do this. It's a whole nother thing. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway. So how did you transition from, did you like flirt coaching, by the way?
I did. You know what? I did enjoy it because it was like getting people out of their boxes, right? Of like training them. But I think it's so simple that if I could just say, like, go make eye contact and smile. I mean, that's really how simple it is. I don't think there's a whole lot of need for all the other fluff. It really is just like, go be your authentic self and smile and make eye contact. And however long you think you're making the eye contact,
make it longer.
Not long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so like simple, right? That it was like, and what it also turned into is people wanting relationship advice and like how to attract in the love. And that's actually, so it went from Flirt With Me coaching services to My Love, My Design, right? So I had My Life, My Design, and then I had My Love, My Design. And so because I was trying to go like, how do I merge these, right? How do I actually serve? How do I like have that come about?
Oh my gosh, this sounds like a time when maybe you operated inside of duality.
Most likely, yes. Yeah. Oh, P.S. I'm not perfect. It's not like I was birthed out and had no duality. It's not like I was birthed out perfect.
I'm always trying to get Tamara to give me the how-to about how she got to where she is, to like maybe in some way prove she wasn't always that way, to allow me to feel comfortable with my humanity. One of my superpowers is owning my humanity.
Yes.
In large groups of people.
So here's what I would say. Look, there was a time in my life where I only dated men who asked me out. So I never chose any of the men. I had a huge epiphany about that for myself. I was a real, like in the corporate world, I was actually a real bitch. Like I remember I had no friends. I almost got fired twice. And my boss had told me, he was like, well, you know, you really need to just be nice to people. And I was like, you hired me to do a job and I come in at 7 a.m. and I leave at 7 p.m. And what do you want? He's like, well, you need to make small talk. And I was like, I don't get it. Bitch, okay? Like my best friend at the time, I remember she said, I saw you in the office and she was trying to sell me something and I was a buyer and I had a high ponytail and a long skirt. And she was like, I was just like very like to the point, no fluff, no connection, nothing. Okay. So when I started my personal growth and development journey, like stepping into actually being connected, being human and like loving people, like I loved people so much they would stop to talk to me and I would just be generous, like, you know, running on the beach or whatever. I mean, literally, there were multiple times where I would be doing something where it was like, I have earplugs in, I'm not interested in you, and people would still come like and want to interact with me. And you have that.
I had a guy yesterday who was trying to talk to me through his car window and my car window. And he was already trying to talk to me when he drove up. And I was like, how did you even see me to start trying to interact?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, I had multiple stories of like dating people and like two guys I was dating, one of them was on the phone with him and he was like, you have to pull over because I need your phone number. And I give him my phone number and then come to find out he was on the phone with the guy I was dating. And he was like, well, if she's really hot, get her phone number, pull over that car. And I was like, wait, you're friends with who? And I was like, oh, fuck, now I'm dating two of them. And one of them had no idea he was telling him to pull me over because I was like, this is a whole big fucking mess. But like not a mess because it was also, look, when you're in the relationship realm and you're dating, one of the things that I coach people in over and over again is you have to be full of love yourself. Don't come to the table with a half tank. And part of my like journey of myself, especially dating my husband, okay? Because homeboy, when I said I had a crush on him, his response was, I got it. And I was like, what? Okay. And I hung up the phone. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. Now he'll tell you his story, but he ain't here. He just didn't like redheads. He wanted a petite brunette that looked like an Asian girl. So I tried to actually hook him up because he wasn't interested in me. But part of my journey was loving myself enough to not deal with that shit. And I had to have his bullshit in my face over and over and over. And by the way, he's a twin flame of mine. So he was bringing up everything I needed to transform about myself in order for me to love myself. And then I went like this. I went, you know what? I'm not dating you anymore. After 3 years of on and off, I'm not doing this bullshit. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, we just went to a party and all night, everybody was saying how wonderful I was and how hot I was and how I was the best thing since sliced bread. And they never seen anything so great with you. And you had zero response to me. I deserve better than that. And I'm going to get better than that. And that's the line in the sand that like literally had him transform. Now, I didn't do it to get somewhere. And I think a lot of people, when they hear that story, it's hard for me to share because people go, oh, I'm going to give my guy an ultimatum and then he's going to come say yes. And I'm like, no, I was literally like, I'm done with you. It wasn't an ultimatum. I'm done with you. I deserve better.
Like what I hear is that you got aligned. Like you're probably, you're talking and you're thinking were probably like you were already there. Like, I'm amazing. I love myself. But your actions were saying something else because you were tolerating his stuff.
I was tolerating his bullshit. And then I got aligned. And what happened was the universe went to take care of that issue, called my husband.
And made him your husband.
But like, brought him to the table in like a really amazing way because he's my twin flame, right? Yeah. But like, twin flame doesn't mean deal with everybody's bullshit. Twin flame means they're going to bring up your bullshit. Are you ready to deal with it?
Yeah.
You know?
It's great. So how did you go from how did you stop? So it sounds like you stopped doing like the flirting because it was simple. You moved to the romance. And then somewhere my life, my design and my love, my design merged together and just became energetic self-mastery.
So here's what I would say. I remember when I started Flirt With Me coaching services, by the way, the logo was so cute. And I had these business cards. The dude I was dating, I would be like, look at this business card. It said Flirt With Me. And he was like, you're not handing that out to guys, are you? And I was like, bitch, I'm handing that out to anybody who's going to take my fucking business card. And he was like, oh. And I was like, this isn't going to work out.
You are not supporting me in what my current highest good is.
Yeah, I'm out like, I want to go be a flirt coach. And you're like, what about the guys? And I'm like, moving on. So yes, there was a moment, like there were these moments of evolution. One was people had told me, oh, there's so much great marketing potential for Flirt With Me. So I went and I started like marketing and having my marketing focus on my love, my design, Flirt With Me, and then it merged into my love, my design. But I was like, oh, I really want to market this. I really want to do this. And so a lot of it, I feel like, was personality and ego trying to market something because somebody said it was good marketing potential. That was not necessarily. Like
a catchy name, you're cute.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, all of that. You're cute, catchy name, this is great, women totally need this, blah, 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 right? And then, but here was the kicker. I always had the My Life, My Design, Your Life, Your Design brand. I always had that. So I like literally created them at the same time. So if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, I really want you to hear this part of the journey and the story, which is.
And for a little time, which like, let's give a year. I think it was like 2014.
This was around 2011 was when I started both companies.
Okay.
2011. And so, or I started a little bit before that, but I think I filed around 2011. And then I couldn't tell you like merging and changing. And that's like, I don't really know when I got married. So like you were there and you had a birthday, but I couldn't tell you the year. I don't know what age you turned.
2015. I'm going to go with 2015.
Great. That sounds amazing. And when was my kid born?
No idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was probably before that. Maybe my daughter was born in 2015.
I might be a year off.
I don't know. See, so it happened. Time.
It was like it happened.
It happened. We have photos. It's great. Okay. So time is a linear conception in humanity that doesn't actually exist. And when you're infinite, everything makes sense and there's no linearity and there's no time. So there you go. You want to take that deeper? Just ask me. We'll do that on a different one. Okay, great. So what happened is I implore any entrepreneur, any business owner, you want to know where the energy is. You want to know what the universe is asking you for. You want to know what your gifts are. You look in reality. And the reality was I had lots of clients coming to me to get coaching inside of your life, your design, my life, my design. I was spending lots of money marketing over in the other arena, probably spending more money on marketing than I was receiving from clients, not having a profitable company in that arena, but I loved it so much and it was great marketing potential. So
big possibilities.
Yeah, big possibilities. I could see them. So what I did was I pivoted, right? So I trade when we're looking at businesses and I'm working with business owners, we look at like what's actually happening in reality and are you willing to pivot? And the quicker you can pivot, the quicker the money will come. Katie knows this. Just happened.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What do people already want to pay you for?
What do people already want to pay you for? And I knew I was starting a coaching business because people were already paying me for coaching. They were already paying me for flirt coaching. They were already paying me for personal coaching. I was already working with people's life purposes. I had worked with somebody, my first person I ever sat down with and had a deep conversation with, she said that was more impactful than the landmark forum. Well, I said, okay, cool. So what are you gonna do?
All right. And when you tell people, well, I guess, what do you say when people are like, what do you do now? Aside from the running a personal growth and development company, when people are like, okay, great. What's that mean? Because I can't imagine that everybody knows. Well, first, let me ask a different question. Does your business appeal to, would you say your customer base is more woo-woo, or is it more like when you go out into the world and you talk to people who aren't already like associated with or interested in energy work, yoga?
I would say this. My business is primarily the varsity team of personal growth and development work. Mm-hmm. We're training the varsity players in personal growth and development work. So I work with primarily people who have done some sort of personal growth and training that haven't gotten the results they want. Because this is like your life all your way. I mean, for fuck's sake. So people are going like, well, I tried this program and I tried that program and I did it. And I'm like, give me 12 months. We'll get you what you want.
Okay. So do you find that other people are like, I don't know, is it alienating?
Not at all.
Or do you just not talk to, I don't know.
No. It's not alienating. It's like if you were invited to play on the varsity team and you just started swimming.
Yeah.
I went to state my first year in swimming. Side note.
Hey, I didn't actually know you were a swimmer.
Oh my God. I swam. I started in my sophomore year and I went to state my first year I ever got in the pool swimming. And I remember they were like, we want you to swim on the relay for regionals and state. And I was like, don't you want fast people? And they were like, you are fast. I'm like, how would we know this? They're like, we time you. And I'm like, really? Again, that time linear thing, I don't know. I was like, I never knew how fast I ran, swam, or anything, right? So they were inviting me to play in the varsity team. So it's an invitation, right, to play at this varsity level where you can have everything all your way. We've got lots of people that I work with that have had no prior personal growth and development experience, right? Yeah. But this is the varsity league because we're merging energetics with the real world to have like real results happen.
Okay. So what would you say people are dealing with when they like, it sounds like it could be anything, but what are the most common things that people come to you for? Like, what are they looking for? And then how do they find you?
They're looking for a great relationship. So either taking their relationship they're currently in to the next level or stepping into one, right? They're looking for abundance. So freedom from all their money constraints. Mm-hmm. They're looking for business change. Those are the top three. Business, so either they're starting a business or they want to be an entrepreneur, they have a business, so they want to take it to the next level. So that's moving them into like 6-7 figure companies, right? They are the money, just the abundance in general relationships. Now, we work with the bodies in healing, mm-hmm. right? We work with wisdom and consciousness and teaching people how to channel. I work with all of that, but those are the like three fundamental foundational principles because I think those are the three biggest things that people are challenged with. That you're like, you know, I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's like I have spent almost $100,000 on myself, growing a business, marketing, trainings, all this other shit, right? And it was like, none of that made a difference, right? Now I know, similar to you, I know funnels and structures and all that, but like none of, trying to put it in place if it's not in alignment isn't gonna work. So you have to be willing to use your intuition.
Man, is that an ungratifying experience.
Totally. You're like, wah, right? And
yeah, so like, oh, that was so much work.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, great, I did all that and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I've been there a lot. In the last decade that I've owned a business, I have done, oh, let's do this done for you, and it's going to create this, and it didn't. Let's do this funnel, and it didn't.
Would you say, I would say, like, just knowing you personally, that you're a really resilient person. I think that most people would call it like resilient or persistent. Was that something that was, and I think this shows up in your willingness to train. Like, that's a superpower I would love to cultivate, being willing to train. And a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
With the reasons we don't even need to go into. So would you say it was persistence and resilience something that was innate to you, or something that you cultivated?
Yeah. Like, I remember, it's innate in me. Okay. Because, when they say, like, pick an adjective to go with your name, they, like, the teachers would pick tenacious.
Okay.
And then I saw that and I was like, that's a really great adjective. I love that. What does it mean? Oh yeah, that's totally me. And then it was tenacious Tamara. Like,
Oh, that's cute. Tenacious T.
So it is something that's innate. And I think, look, it's not, I would say for entrepreneurs, it isn't easy having this dream and having it like, and thinking like I should get out, and thinking I should close the doors, and thinking I didn't make it, and da-da-da-da. But inside of training myself, there's this opportunity to go like, oh, I just haven't figured out the right formula yet. Like, I just haven't figured out what really sits yet. Like, I just haven't figured out the full connection yet, right? Mm-hmm. So where a lot of people are like, what's your elevator pitch? I think it changes every time I say it. I have a multiple 6-figure moving into a 7-figure company. And I'm telling you, I don't know my elevator pitch. And if you're like, and she's like asking all these questions, what do people come to you for? I'm like, this would be great marketing. Is it all stamped in concrete? No, like, it totally fluctuates. So I think that's like something to just be said. Like, you can build the company, especially you can build a company and you don't have to have all that worked out. Like, how many times have I hired a brander? Have I used anything they did? No. You know what I do now is I open up a fucking like Canva file or an art text 2 on my Mac computer, and I put in a font that I liked, 2 fonts I liked, and that's how I got my logo. And that was more fulfilling than any branding that anybody ever did, except for that Flirt With Me logo. That was really good, but I can't use that anymore.
I was really into that one.
Really into it. Okay. So I think the tenacity or the, perseverance it is definitely part of it. But here's what I would say. If you step into being a leader, that is a key component. Marianne Williamson has some fucking perseverance, homegirl. And she's like, I'm not going to give up until people stop showing up to my rallies. That's perseverance. She's like in 2% of the, 2% of like the following of like the Democratic Party right now, right? And it's like, and she's the only one I want to vote for. And I have no idea why she's only at 2%. But that's like a whole other thing. But that's tenacity, and that's perseverance, and that's serving, and that's leadership, right? And so as long as people show up for my facilitation, as long as they respond to what I'm doing, I'm probably going to keep doing it because that's my commitment. And, and the analytics, right? Like you were talking about analytics earlier and stuff like that. But I was like, I remember like I posted something on Instagram and like, I was like only 16 likes, like in the hour it posted. But in the hour it posted, I got a phone call from one of my husband's best friends who I officiated his wedding, and it moved him so much he got on the phone with me. So like analytics aside, I look for everything in reality, not analytics, not what somebody says, not da-da-da-da. It's like, how many people are emailing me about that topic? How many people are responding to the post? How many people are asking me about this thing? And then I go, okay, great. Then I know that I'm serving well, right?
Yeah. So I'm glad that the conversation went here, because I think a lot of people, when you have a new idea, I think a lot of people are looking for results in reality, but interesting point of view. I have a point of view that people have started to do that maybe to their detriment.
Yes. You want the overnight thing, right?
Yeah. Like we want it now. We want it yesterday. I want to post something on social media and have everybody in the world tell me how fantastic I am and start buying all the things right now.
Totally.
So how, like, what do you say to your clients, and what do you do personally when you post and maybe like you don't get that phone call, or when you try a new offer, or what do you tell people when they really care about something, they're looking for a relationship, they're trying to impact, like heal something in their body, they're creating a new business, and maybe for a month, it's like they're doing the stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing the things. They're saying the right things, that are aligned with the results that they want to have, and like crickets, nothing's happening.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a part where we have to go like, where are you misaligned? Right? So anything can be created and manifested in reality at whichever rate, but we have to look where your alignment is. And the alignment is judgment, point of views, conclusions. What are you like? If you're aligned in a duality, there's always going to be a challenge, right, Katie?
Cha.
Doom. Truth bomb. Okay. So if there is, like, if somebody goes, well, I have to suffer so that I know love. Well, then you will create suffering so that you can experience love, and you will not have love without suffering, because you live in that paradigm and that's what you're aligned in, right? So being an entrepreneur is this amazing experience of like bringing all of the energetic and limitlessness possibilities to this reality, but you have to deal with yourself as a human in this reality. So what I would say is, sometimes what happens is you are fully aligned. Like every molecule in your being is fully aligned. And then you just have to wait for the molecules around you to catch up. So then you have to have the patience.
And so how do you tell if it's a time to have patience, or if it's like
intuition,
flirt with me?
Yeah.
Or whether it's flirt with me coaching.
Right. Well, it's intuition.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So intuition was like, oh, my life, my design. I can literally coach anybody in any area of their life with my life, my design. It is my life, my design. I don't need a separate arm. I don't need any of that. And so then when I realized that, I was like, okay, cool. So people would come to me and we would work on relationship. We would work on money. We would work on business. And we would just like, we would go like, well, what's up for you? Now, here's the interesting thing. How you are in one area is how you are in all areas. So we can have conversations about how you are in a relationship is the same in how you are in business. And like one of the things I've never said before, you guys are going to get it firsthand right here, is like, I think about the men. This is
not louder. It just got louder all of a sudden. It's so strange.
Like the men who go, you guys know these men who are like, I will marry you tomorrow. Those men, they are the ones that go and hit it out of the park in business. They go full in. They don't give a fuck what it is. But I'm not saying the men who are like, oh, I'd like to marry you. No, I'm saying like the ones, I've dated these men who have like grown amazing companies. I see them from the sidelines now because I'm not with them, clearly. But they were the ones that are like, I am going to marry you tomorrow. And I'm like, bitch, you crazy. But they have that conviction. So if you think about business and relationships, it's always the same. Those hesitations you have, those point of views and judgments you have about relationships are the same that will show up in business. So the cultivation in one area will lend itself to the success of all areas. That should be a meme.
Yeah. Great. So it's been great. What would you say, like, do you still worry?
No.
Do you have fears?
When I see my husband cooking with my child in the kitchen, it's a pretty fearful experience.
Lots of fears there.
Yeah, but let's take but we could look at that, right? So, but I use like the violet flame and wrap them, and I tell him what I see and have him tune into his awareness.
Yeah.
To manage the situation. But if you look at like when I go snowboarding and you're like you look down that mountain, I literally tap into infinite being. I breathe into it. I do like violet flame, white light work, and I own that mountain every time. The last time I jumped out of an airplane, zero fear, nothing going on. But for some reason, I still have this motion sickness thing. So I don't know what that's
about. your area yet to transform.
Yeah, that's my one thing is I have to take Dramamine before I go salsa dancing.
Because you get spun around a lot?
Oh yeah, salsa dancing or two-stepping, I will always take Dramamine with me, anti-nausea medicine.
That's funny.
I mean, that's my human. Keep it real.
What would you say if you had to give people like one piece of advice? What would it be?
Cultivate your ability to be uncomfortable in the discomfort. Cultivate your ability to call it in. Cultivate your ability to ask for it. Cultivate your ability to move through it with grace. Okay. That is like, you want to expand spiritually, energetically, intellectually, physically, romantically, entrepreneurially. Cultivate your ability to be in the uncomfortable.
And that would look like making eye contact longer than feels comfortable.
That's right. And I guarantee you it'll come back tenfold. And that's if you're looking at relationship, right? But like in business, there's so many things that are calling to people right now, and they're just not stepping into them because they're like, well, I don't want to, or I don't want that, or I don't, it's like surrender and just fucking step into it. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Great. What do you, what does the word sisterhood mean to you?
Raising the consciousness on the planet.
Awesome.
Yeah, like the ability to come together and be really vulnerable and raise.
That's the Tamara moved cry face. Oh,
so ugly.
I think it's endearing.
Yeah, but like, I think it's like our ability to own the power and to step in and be vulnerable and be real and be ourselves. And like creating that container, that safe space, because that's the thing that's going to move the paradigm. I mean, it's not going to be any more white privileged men telling us what to do.
Yeah.
Like a whole thing about that.
You want, well, in an alternate way to like maybe go into that is, and you might not experience this because maybe this is a function of duality, like living in a dualistic world, but how do you see someone can be strong or be powerful, maybe, or be the dominant energy, but also be soft, be nurturing? Because that's what it seems like is arising on the planet right now. It's like, how do you be strength?
Yeah.
How do you stand strong?
Yeah.
Stand up for what you believe in, stand up for who we all are as divine beings, but do it in a way that is like with kindness, with nurturing, with a softness that, yeah.
You know what? It's just it's like, I've just had so many downloads for this whole conversation, just so you know. I've had like, my body's lit up, my like goosebumps, I got mood. It's like, this is like so divinely perfect. So I hope everybody gets to watch this and see this, especially to the end. But that should be a little snippet you pull out. Thanks. It reminds me of Marianne Williamson being interviewed on Fox News. Because Marianne, I know, I don't know why.
I will find and link up that interview.
Yes. So Marianne Williamson being interviewed on Fox News, and it was so great for so many reasons. A, having a Democrat interviewed on a Republican outlet like Fox, that was amazing. That I don't watch anything on Fox News, so I don't know, but I'm sure that they've been really bashing Joe Biden because I think Joe Biden was the front runner at the time that she did this. And they kept asking her about her opinion of Joe Biden. They were like pushing her in to see what negative things she would say about Joe Biden. And she stood her ground and she said, look, that's just not, I'm not there. I don't actually have a comment about that. And they asked her about her platform and her not actually making it to be president. And she said, why would I run for something if I wasn't out to win it and be president? And so I think there's this way of like, she wasn't saying like, hey, dumbass. She wasn't saying, hey, dumbass, but she kept redirecting the conversation. And I think that's part of like our ground with the feminine that I think if we hone in and we retrain ourselves, I think we've been untrained. We've been untrained as women. We've been untrained to be kind and generous and loving. And that's like one of the most special things about being a woman is that's like innately here. Now, it's not that it's not men. That's not what I'm saying because I'm not in that duality, right? But it's like something that's innately there that I think is coming out that I think we need to retrain ourselves in. And so inside of my coaching, yes, I will be fierce with you, but God damn it, I'm going to love you so much. And I think that's what people feel. And I mean, that's why I love what I do, is because I'm going to just love everybody, but I'm going to be a stand for what is actually happening. And the actuality of what is happening is we are in we are so far beyond the third, we're in the fifth dimension already. To continue to choose limitation is like weird. It's like a weird thing that most people just don't know. And so it's like, well, let me show you. I'll illuminate it. And let me give you choice. And let me love you through that whole process. And if you don't choose now, it's okay. I'll keep illuminating it. And so I get to just keep illuminating it. And I make fun of the white privileged men thing, mostly because, my husband is a white privileged man. His dad, his best friend, and they have this little chat group. And as soon as I saw them chatting about like politics and things, I was like, oh my God, you have a white privileged men group. Oh my God. And now we make fun of it. Like, it's this funny, like, comical thing. And oh God, where was I going with that? Oh my God. I just went on a whole tangent. My brain went like completely bonkers.
We were talking about nurturing.
So here's the deal. My husband, while he is a white privileged man, I ask questions that get him to think. And you know what happens? Now he asks questions in his white privileged men group that get them to think. So I don't have to go in and bash it and make it wrong. I actually lovingly joke about it. And it's very funny that some people just have a different perspective and point of view. Yeah. But if I'm training him in a new perspective as a leader, so you have to look at your own leadership capacities, my goal is that he trains other people or asks questions lovingly that inspire a new conversation.
Yeah. What I really see inside of stepping into, or I see as possible from stepping into nurturing, like creating change from a place of nurturing, support, and loving someone through a process, is it happens faster. It can happen faster because you don't create resistance.
Yeah.
Like when you're a hammer, you're dominating people, like manipulation and force, the initial thing that shows up is resistance to it. And maybe that's why I'm so aware of the duality, because inside of, the separation, inside of the a masculine paradigm, it's like there's an automatic resistance to the feminine.
Yeah.
Or where that is what's important. There's an automatic resistance to the importance and value of the feminine.
Yeah.
And that creates resistance, which creates a longer lag time. Like what we all say we want is now. And then we live in a society that in a lot of ways perpetuates the delay.
Right. Now, here's something fascinating about them. Like, men love games. Don't they love games? Like football, basketball.
Yeah.
They love games. Now, women do too.
Yeah.
Don't go into the duality, okay? But men love games. Inside of the masculine, games always have a winner and loser. It's a natural duality, naturally there. So trained at a very early age inside of games and winner and loser, we are trained inside of a duality, right? Where there is competition, where somebody has to lose, right? And I think it's not about, I'm not all for everybody gets a fucking award at the goddamn soccer play. It's not my jam, okay? However, there's something really unique to be said that's been how, like, if the masculine has been in charge, if the patriarch has been in charge, and there is a natural love of winner-loser game, then the paradigm will exist in that reality. So what we're pointing to is a reality where, like, what if there is no loser? What if there is no scarcity? Like, there's scarcity because you have one winner. There then creates scarcity. So what if it's just not like that? Just a thought, right?
Yeah.
Then you can have everybody be billionaires.
Yeah.
Oh God, can you imagine the inflation on that? We'd have to restructure
a different system. It'd be like, okay, we're all billionaires. Now what?
Now what? Yeah. Now maybe everything's
I've
free.
always had this strange plan for like peace on earth, which is like alien invasion. We'd all be peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Come our way.
Why not? Who says we don't already have alien invasion?
Well,
Infinite being?
Infinite beings. I mean, then we're all the aliens. We're not invading. Maybe we are. We are invading.
I came from another planet.
We're probably an invasive species.
Yeah. Well, what if it's more about like the invasive was the consciousness from another planet? Then we're all aliens.
Yeah.
If that's how we define an alien.
Whew. Well, this has been a beautiful conversation. No, seriously.
We're ending on aliens.
We're not going to end on aliens. What should we end on? What do we want our ending note to be aside from I'm an alien? I'm a legal alien.
Illegal alien. Is that a song? Should we write the song?
Yeah. I'll link that song up. I'm going to have to read the words.
I love that we're going to have so many links out of this like video. Just like link to this.
Of course. Love it. Guys, I'll take care of you. You don't have to work too hard. I'll give you your links.
That's right. Okay, so what are we wrapping it up on? I'm sorry. I had to make sure my lipstick looks good.
Oh, it looks great. What do you think is a good ending question? Since you are like what is this? What do they call it? The maiden voyage. You're the maiden voyage. I'm going to crack a champagne bottle on your chest. No, I'm just kidding.
So many dirty jokes out of that one thing.
I am a walking 13-year-old dirty joke.
So little time.
So what do you think is a great question to end on?
God, I don't feel like I'm really great at
Here, I got one. Yeah. I got one for you. So what is the contribution that you hope to be in the world or are in the world?
Yeah, it's ushering in a new paradigm.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of said that, but it's really like it's ushering in the paradigm. And so literally everything I do from, who soothes my child on an airplane when she's really upset, not me, because not the agreements, not the new paradigm, right?
Yeah.
To what I'm doing in the business. It's all ushering in a new paradigm. And so it's like my goal to be really like uncomfortable most of the time, to notice judgment, point of views, and conclusions, and to like really take a stand for something different. So, I don't know how many, here's the deal. If anybody wants to send me links or send me suggestions, if you know any entrepreneurial women who have stay-at-home dads, who have children, who are ushering in a new way to do business on the planet, in a paradigm that has people have it all their way with no duality. If you know anybody like that, I'd like to discover that.
Yeah. Hey, add them to your tribe.
I'd like to add them to my tribe because right now my tribe is of one. So I have lots of people in my tribe, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, if there's like specifically somebody doing this who's already done it a lot easier, I would love to like befriend them.
Yeah.
Like go to coffee and like hang out. Okay. So like, I think that's really like ushering in the paradigm of choice, like full choice with no duality is that's what I'm here for.
Cool. And what is the next thing you're creating inside of having it all your way?
Within the next month or so, within the next year, like I'm always
we'll say this time next year.
This time next year. For me personally or business-wise?
You personally.
We're going to be building a new house up in the mountains.
Yay.
And so that inside of have it all my way, that may, at the point right now where my husband still flips and flops and snores at night, that may mean that we have 2 master suites and our master bathroom is more like a Jack and Jill. But the view for the particular place that we're looking is like stunning. And so it really is like, it'll feel like you're in a retreat all the time, right? Because we want to retreat, we want to go to hotels and they have like a particular experience. And I'm just going to live in that. That's like all my way with like, a house manager and somebody to like clean up and like, maybe somebody to be a nanny. I don't know. It depends on how much my husband is trained at the point that we have this house. And he likes me to say like, honey, I know I need more training in this. Can you help me? So it's not a weird conversation with us.
I really appreciate that actually about your marriage, the willingness to be trained and to be open to like having requests about what everybody wants. It's beautiful.
It is. If you ever come to my house, you get like 8 different offers on how you like your coffee because we want to make sure it's all your way.
Yes, it is great. And I always go with like, however Tamara's having it sounds great. I might change my mind at some point though, because that's the great thing about, choice. You get to change your mind.
This is true.
So last question, how do people find you? If people want to stay connected, they want to like come check out more stuff, aside from obviously we're going to have some special offers on the webpage with this video.
So let's see. So we currently have an event happening November 15th, 16th, and 17th in 2019, because this video will live on. It'll live on because it's infinite. Energy is infinite, the internet is infinite, and that's how that goes. So we're doing that in Denver, Colorado. That one is Mastering the Energetics of Business and Entrepreneurship. So we're going to talk all about working less, playing more, making way more money. So like using magic, infusing it into your business, that is the first thing up. I always have some sort of free training, so we'll link that down below. Always. There's always some free training for somebody. You can always get some access to me free online. One of the things Katie's in is the Energetic Self-Mastery Program. It is my life's work. Literally, my legacy is in this 12-month program to teach people on how to use intuition, how to be in alignment, how to create, manifest, and actualize anything that they want. So that's super fun. And then rolling into January, we're going to do create, manifest, and actualize the shit out of 2020. So we'll maybe put a link there when it's ready. Let me see. And then I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and my webpage. How's that?
Yes, and her webpage is mylifemydesign.com. She's on Instagram at Tamara Ross. And then, and then Facebook. Just look up Tamara Ross again.
It's My Life, My Design by Tamara.
Okay, perfect.
And then it might be My Life, My Design 5280 might be the handle on Facebook. Because I'm at 5280 height in the sky. That is Colorado's altitude, 5280, which is also my address. Mm-hmm.
Wow, odd.
It is odd. I didn't get it. I bought my house. It was 5280, and so I bought my house, and we opened up shop here. And then every contractor that ever came over, they're like, "Your address is amazing." And then I found out there was like 5280 magazine, 5280 travel, 5280 da 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 da, like skiing 52. It's like.
Wow. Hey, aligned. It's all aligned. Divinely aligned.
So I stole it.
I love it. Well, Tamara, thank you so much. I love you.
I had so much fun.
Yeah. So for myself and for all the ladies out there, or all the men out there, or all the, identifying as whatever you identify as, we love you. And thank you, Tamara, for sharing your brilliance with us. And
I love you.
The first Women Crush Wednesday video.
Hi.
Podcast episode, whatever.
Hi. I love you. All right.
Bye.